What's going on, guys? My name's Theoatrix, and today I'm going to be talking about the staking odds in old school RuneScape and in terms of the attack styles that you can use while you stake. And to be honest, there are some very interesting results in this video, something that a lot of people would not expect at all, and definitely a lot of people don't use this. So basically what I've done in this video is I've calculated the accuracies of each attack style on specific other attack styles, so whatever your opponent is using, and I've collected all the data and I've worked out which attack style actually gives you the best odds when you're staking in old school RuneScape. Now, before I get into this video, there are quite a few assumptions I need to make. The first one is that I'm going to assume that everybody here has max stats, so 99 attack, 99 strength, defense, and hit points. Most stakers have max stats, and that's where the fairest staking actually happens, so I'm not going to do any more than that. I'm also going to assume that both users are using a tentacle whip, not a regular whip, a tentacle whip. But yeah, moving right along. So when you're staking, there are 3 attack styles you can use. There is Flick, Lash, and Deflect. Flick gives +3 to your effective attack level, Lash gives +1 to attack, strength, and defense, and then Deflect gives you +3 to your effective defense level. Now, one very important thing here is that higher strength levels do not actually give you a higher chance of hitting higher. It does let you hit higher, but there's not a better chance of hitting higher. Mod Ash actually made a tweet explaining this, and he says that the damage distribution is uniform from 0 to your max hit. So there is an equal chance of hitting a 0 to a max hit, even if you rolled an accurate hit. So when you work out your attack accuracy and say you rolled a hit, but then you still have a chance of hitting a 0 either way, but you also have equal chance of hitting your max hit and all the numbers in between. Another way to think about it, you have the same chance of hitting a 5 as you have the chance of hitting a 20. So the next thing I did was work out the maximum hits from using each of the attack styles with a regular tentacle whip and no other bonuses. The max hits do round down. That is important to keep in mind. So 1 or 2 strength bonuses isn't always going to increase your max hit. So you can see on the screen right now, I did some handwritten calculations, and I didn't show the way I worked out the effective level, but it isn't just your visible level and the stance bonus. You also have to add 8 to the effective level to get the final effective level. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but in the description, I have linked where I got all this information of the formulas. And once I did all the working out, I found that the max hits for Flick and Lash are exactly the same, which means that the Lash strength bonus is absolutely useless. They both have a max hit of 25. So that means with the same max hits, it all comes down to accuracy. The accuracy of your attacks simply determines your odds of winning. Now, in staking, there are 2 different scenarios. There is the first one when you're attacking at different times, which means that you're allowed to flick to deflect while they attack you, and that gives you a +3 to your effective defense level. Then you can go back to flick or lash, and then that gives you an attack bonus. And then the other scenario is where you're both attacking at the same time, and that doesn't happen as often, but it still happens. So I'm going to start off working out the odds when both players are defensive flicking, means they're going to defensive and then going back to flick or lash. So I did a lot of calculations, and I incorporated the fact that the opponent has an extra +3 to their effective defense level at the time of your attack. I also properly worked out the effective levels. Don't worry, I triple checked all my calculations, and I also worked it out with the formulas from a mod, so I definitely did everything correctly. Now, at the end of the calculations, it comes out that Flick, using Flick while they're on deflect, gives you an accuracy of 49.55%, so that is your chance of hitting something. But then with Lash, your effective attack level is lower, so that means your accuracy comes out to be 48.65%, which all in all means Flick gives you better odds of winning than Lash does. Now, obviously, staking also does come down to PID. I haven't really explained what PID is in any of my videos, but that is an incoming video. But that isn't exactly decided by the player, so you can't really help your odds in terms of that. So all in all, if you're both changing attack styles, one is defensive and then flipping to attack and so on, Flick actually gives you the better odds. Now, for the scenario where both players are attacking at the same time, and this means that both players cannot use defensive flicking, therefore they're either stuck on flick or stuck on lash, or they might be stuck on deflect, depends what they want to do. But anyway, I'm going to calculate for all of these, and every single situation. So in a situation where you're using flick and your opponent's using deflect, or where you're using lash, they're using lash as well. Now in this scenario, you cannot tell what your opponent is doing. You can't tell if they're on flick or lash or defense. You can't tell at all. But as I said, I worked out each scenario, and it'll give you an idea of which one works out best. So on the screen right now, there is a table with the odds for each type of attack of your opponent and yourself. The percentages there are the chances of that person hitting on the other person. Now, what you can gather from this is that flick always, no matter what style that your opponent is using, it always has better odds than the opponent. Except for, obviously, when you're both on flick, it's going to be the same. But on the other ones, you always have a better chance of hitting, even very slightly, if the opponent's on deflect. Now, if you're using lash, you actually have worse odds. You don't have better odds in any scenario unless you both have the same, in which you both have the same odds. So I see so many people using lash, especially on streams, in videos. Lash is not better. Lash is the worst style you can be using while you're staking. Now, if you're on deflect, you actually have fairly decent odds, except for when they're on flick and you're on deflect. But in the other scenarios where they're on lash, or you're on deflect and they're on deflect, the odds are pretty much in your favor, unless it's the same, obviously. But the margin between the odds is not very significant, and the best one here has to be flick. It still comes down to flick, even if you're attacking at the same time. So yeah, guys, that honestly really surprised me working all of that out. A lot of people are using lash these days, and flick is better. So please, if you go staking, use flick. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about in terms of the staking odds. And now it's time for clip of the day. Today's clip of the day is from LordStarfish, and he's had some incredible luck with medium clues lately. On his 13th medium treasure trail, he got ranger boots, which is awesome. But then on his 19th, only 6 treasure trails later, he got himself another set of range boots, totaling almost 60 mil in loot. Congratulations, man. That'll definitely be awesome for your bank account. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you learned something. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have learned something from this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and also subscribe if you're new. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.